You're now listening to The Heart of House, Episode 8. Heart of House is home to the entrepreneurial spirit.
As we sit down with our gathered experiences,
we also share stories and lessons of success and failure from some of the most extraordinary and outstanding people.
With educational segments on spirituality,
relationships,
money,
and much more,
we get to the core,
the root,
the heart of the matter,
to help you improve your overall health and well-being.
From practical matters to divine wisdom, we bring it to the table.
It's food for your soul. Let's eat.
Just had to say that with the shoulders.
Yeah.
We bring it to the table.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Kalani Picasso Benjamin.
Hey, good evening. It's Jake. How are you?
Hope you all are doing well this beautiful evening.
It's kind of cold out there right now. Hopefully y'all got on long sleeves or something like that.
Yeah, baby, it's cold outside. Ain't that? It's May. It's May.
It is May.
I don't know.
It don't make a difference.
Don't make a difference. So on today's episode, we want to talk a little bit about fear and how fear has the capacity to control, influence, and manipulate our lives in so many different ways, even on a very subtle level. Fear is that thing that in this time especially is running rampant. It is more insidious and viral than any virus that we're actually experiencing in this time. And fear is one of those programs that has been installed for millennia. And it's so interesting how it can drastically affect your life, your health, your reality. So today we want to ask some questions, answer some questions. Like, what are your fears? What are you afraid of? What are you most afraid of? How is that affecting your life? How is it affecting your health? These are just some of the many questions to ask. And we want to dive into how you can navigate and circumvent the fear that may be controlling your life. So let's get into the show.
It's like everything we have has evolved from something. So at one point, we didn't have what we know as a table today. 900 years ago was not a table. So it's kind of like you can't reach conclusions. I guess it's what you can't be rigid in your thinking pattern because it's like, well, it wasn't always like this.
Right.
At one point, we didn't even, what we doing now wasn't even a thing.
Right.
Like when I say talk and even talking. So
that's all. Yeah, talking, language.
Yeah.
There can be different arguments, and that's the issue, is the arguments, but the idea that language came about is actually inferior to our higher connection because we were communicating without words. Words get in the way. It's like the middleman. So when you start to rely on the middleman, now you undermine the integrity of the message that's coming through in relationship to words. And people will say, well, we have to be able to communicate. That's just how we learned. Just look at it when we came into this world as a child. We came in speaking a language. Now, the problem was the adults didn't understand the language. So the adults train the child in the language that they know so there can be communication or understanding. because communication was going on.
Right.
Instead of the adult tuning into the higher frequency that the child is on to understand that language, which is the language where we came from. The language that requires no words.
Right.
I mean, and making sounds and doing all this stuff, but when we tune into that, now we're getting direct information. And then so that language has created the idea of good and bad, right and wrong, judgment, and all those different things that we're bound up because we're trying to interpret words and meanings from coming from somebody when there can be split energy. So, I'm sure everybody has had this experience where you sense something's going on with somebody because you see it, you feel it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you all right? Everything good? Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
So what happens in that interaction is now there's confusion because your higher self tuned into actually what is going on and what's happening.
Right.
And that spoke to you. But then what came out of their mouth was a conflicting idea.
Right.
And so now you start to question and doubt your own internal knowing. And you do that more and more and more. And then it becomes suppressed, and therefore we don't trust it. Now we trust the external more than we trust the internal.
Right. When
in fact, the information that we seek is from the internal first. It's like we're everybody running around in this world looking for validation or proof. And for instance, in photography, when you take a light, the photo, you imprint the light onto the film and it creates a negative. The information is right there. I can see the negative. So I got the information and all that in the negative. So if I pay attention to that, that was first. So why am I spending all this time going looking for proof? The proof is the print or the copy of the negative. That happens after the fact. If I'm getting the information directly and I got the negative, why do I need to go look for proof? And see, we all going searching for proof, which can be distorted. And when we bring it back out to in terms of, oh, this person has a PhD, that person has a master's, and this person has a bachelor's, and they've been doing this for years and has this experience and says this is how this goes, and you trust them more than you trust that internal knowing or that direct connection. Yeah. And you only trust them because someone said they've done this a certain amount of time. Right. But that doesn't make it truth. Yeah. That it could have been true at one point. But we live in a world where things are always changing and evolving. So we have to be open to things being different. Yeah. Than we've ever known before.
Yeah. That's the key to staying in business.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah. And any business. If you don't change and adapt and evolve in business, your business is gonna get crushed.
Like when the internet came out, if you're a business owner and you like, fuck that, I ain't using no internet. I don't think you around today.
Nah.
Because probably 99% of everything is online.
Right. Brick and mortars getting crushed if they don't adapt. You can still have brick and mortar and you can still do all that. Yeah. But if you, like you said, if you're not going into the internet and utilizing social media, you're going to have a tough time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, word of mouth is always good. It's just like, it's probably just a certain market that you reach versus national or global.
Right. You're only getting the people in your neighborhood, your circle of friends.
Right.
That's it.
I mean, and if that's the goal, then that's cool. But if it ain't, then you gotta put that thing in a different gear.
Right. And even that circle changes because everybody got this little device in the palm of their hand, which all I got to do is swipe. Oh, that's cool. Click, pay for it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Instant.
I do that more and more. Why do I need to go here next door? Oh, I don't need this. We got to support local and support this. I get that. But what if they don't have a particular product because they haven't upgraded, they haven't done, or you need to pay a certain way. Oh, you can't even go write a check in Whole Foods.
I don't even know the last time I looked at it. I do. But I don't know the last time I wrote a check.
Right. I mean, I've written checks in business.
Yeah. But
like going to the store, I don't know. I mean, I know Whole Foods don't take checks because I remember one time, it was years ago.
Yeah.
And I still had a checkbook, and I kept it in the car, and I was in there. I was like, dang, I ain't had no money. I didn't have my card. All my stuff was at the house. I said, well, I got a checkbook.
Yeah.
I said, can I write? Oh, I'm sorry, we don't take checks.
Right.
So, that's that point of you change.
Yeah.
You can hold on to it as long as you want to. But at some point you can be left in the dark.
You gotta let that go, baby.
Yeah.
You gotta let that go.
You gotta let that go,
Oh man.
So, yeah, man.
Yeah. Adaptability.
So yeah, the fear of loss is greater than the desire to gain. This is a quote that I heard a long time ago. I'm not 100% certain who said that quote or where that quote came from, but it's very interesting. And just to put that in perspective, the fear of loss being greater than the desire to gain, meaning if there's a child walking out in the middle of the street, that mother will run. Anybody, pretty much. You see a child in the middle of the street and a car coming, somebody gonna dive out to try to save that child. That's the fear of loss. It's not even a question.
Right.
But when it comes to something that can dramatically change your life, say for instance, we want to make millions of dollars or do something like that.
Yeah.
What will you do to put in the work to make that happen? What will you, and I don't even want to use the word sacrifice because it's unnecessary, but what will you do? See, that was a sacrifice, that fear of loss. We do stuff like sacrifice when we're afraid to lose something. But the desires that will change our lives, we don't have quite the
same drive.
Yeah, the same drive. Interesting.
Yeah, and I think as you saying that, I feel like the first common reply is, well, it's different. It's different in terms of, well, that was a child. You got to do that.
Oh yeah.
So you ain't gotta have to drive to fulfill one of your goals,
right?
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, and that was just an example, but we can overlay that into most anything in life. It's like when we're afraid to lose something, we'll do a whole lot not to lose something.
Right.
So then the question is, are you really losing anything?
No, I think there's like for me there's a reality of loss. I don't equate it with a negative. I don't equate it negatively though. So I had a truck. The truck was a total loss. It was an accident. It was a total loss. I had to go get a different vehicle.
Right.
Or I didn't have to. I chose to go get a different vehicle. But I don't look at the truck as a loss. It was a material thing. And then I was like, man, I want another truck. But if I'd have tried to hold on to that one and get another one, it probably would have caused me more issues to try to, I can't let this truck go because I really like this one. So I'm gonna hold on to it and then be having like 2 insurance payments and trying to keep up with one, maintenance on 2 vehicles instead of just like, ain't no instead of, which what I did is just, all right, let that go. Just go look for a note.
Right.
I'm not losing nothing. I just trying to tell myself I'm losing something.
You know, I think that's what we do most of the time in our lives in general. More so because of how we observe and look at life.
Yeah.
We don't look at it energetically when everything is energy, frequency, vibration. Energy is vibrating at a certain frequency. That's what we see and we call reality or physical. And all of this is scientifically proven. It's not, so going back to the proof thing, everybody needs some kind of proof, but
get you some pudding.
Right. There, you know, get you some pudding because it's in there. But when you spend your time focusing on the effect, what caused the effect? You know, what came before the proof? Because I was thinking about the other day, I was thinking about hypothetical, because I saw a comment somebody was saying that on some post that I saw, and they happened to say, "Oh, you lost me at hypothetical," because it's not right and exact.
Yeah,
we don't deal in hypotheticals. Yeah, we don't deal in what ifs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I started thinking about it and said, "Wow, okay, so hypothetical." You know, I think, now this is my opinion, but hypothetical is like code word for, I'm going to say it this way because your level of understanding is not quite in a place to be able to receive it. So in order for you not to reject it, I'm going to say it this way, which is hypothetical.
Yeah.
Because it's something that challenges your current state of understanding or awareness. So that's why we use hypothetical.
Right.
But when something comes from the unseen, the spiritual realm, everything comes from that. There's no quote unquote proof. It's the negative first. That doesn't make it not right and exact. That just means if you haven't seen the negative, either you trust it or you don't. But it's not, and we talk about in law, the burden of proof is on the one making the claim.
Yeah.
But just look at that phrase. Burden is something that you carry and it's heavy. So why would I want to carry that burden when I can simply tap in myself to receive the message and oh, okay, I got it now. But that goes back into the trust thing. Now it's like, oh, can I trust this person? Can I trust that person with this information? Because they've got skin in the game. They've had a whole bunch of experiences and they've got education.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the brother on the street that was down on his luck and drink Mad Dog 2020. That don't mean he's not dropping some bombs. People look at him sideways when he says something that challenges their understanding of what they know. Oh, he's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at some point, all of the stuff that we are experiencing that, like, for instance, a door opening by itself. When somebody said that one time, they were crazy.
Right.
But now you ain't never even thought about the doors opening up. That was some Star Trek, space age, new age stuff.
Right. Now they automated.
Yeah. Now it is, that's ancient now.
Yeah.
You know?
Now if the door don't open like that, you crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like what y'all doing?
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, that goes into that judgment.
That's deep.
Judge no thing or no one.
Mm-hmm.
So hold no one or no thing in judgment. And when you judge another person, you don't define them. You merely define yourself as someone who needs to judge. Another quote that I don't really remember who said it, but
yeah. Makes me think about something you said a little while ago. When you think you're greater, you are disconnected. Like you sit in this seat of, it was somebody, I think it might have been Steve Jobs, maybe. He don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Like if you got a problem or a sense of fear when you're working with somebody who has more knowledge, it's kind of like, well, they smarter than me, so I can't. This feeling of like it's insecure feeling,
right? That inferiority, yeah.
And it's almost like, well, I don't really want to work with them because, well, we just don't get along. But it really don't have nothing to do with you not getting along. You just feel insecure with working with the person because you think that they're smarter than you.
Right.
When in reality, they might have some different experiences, but I'm sure there's something you contribute yourself to the table. You just cannot focus on the person.
Right.
And you can't focus on the person and your own insecurities. And that's not like a cut and dry, easy thing to do. I'm sure that's not easy. It's just, that's the only way out or the only way up when dealing with fear. I mean, for example, I work around people who've been in the construction field for probably, 30 years. I'm just 31.
Right.
So, but a lot of times before I probably finish my sentence, they done already pictured what I'm talking about. Yet, it's not on them to help me with my insecurity of what I haven't learned yet.
Right.
I just gotta be comfortable with that uncomfortableness and just keep going.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. The whole insecurity and judgment, because I think what it's showing is comparison.
Oh yeah.
And I've quoted this before. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I know that one, Teddy Roosevelt. And I mean, but it's so on point, because when you spend your energy looking in the other lane, now your race is over. Yeah. In fact, because you're looking at other lanes, so you're watching what this person doing and watching what that person is doing, you're in a race. You're in a competition. When you're in your lane, there is no competition. Yeah. Because your focus and energy is on you and what you are here to do and your purpose and your mission, whatever task you got to do. And so now you dissolve all the self-doubt and judgment because you're not comparing yourself to somebody else. All right. And we do it so ridiculously because what do I look like comparing my beginning with somebody else's 50 years? Yeah. That's just ridiculous. Yeah. It doesn't even make sense. But we automatically say, oh man, I should be doing better, and we'll beat ourselves up, or like, man, I ain't good enough to do X, Y, Z. Well, at some point
they had to start too.
And guess what? You might be way ahead of where they were even when they started. And it ain't no might be, because we're in a different time. Just think about that. Things are faster. We're moving into a faster vibration, into the quantum world. So those that are coming in now are quick, like a whole nother level. But we look at stuff like how the evolution, how hip hop is coming, and some of these, we call them knuckleheads or idiots and all this stuff. it goes back to judgment. Just because they're doing a certain act doesn't make them stupid.
Yeah.
But we look at the things and we say it's a problem, the things that they're doing. But what's happening is misdirected energy. Mm-hmm. The energy that they're coming through with is trying to be filtered through antiquated or old technology. Mm-hmm. So then it gets distorted. They don't know what, it's just like, oh, we doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Because what's that in the scripture talking about putting old,
don't put new wine into old wineskins.
Right.
Or the burst.
Right. And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
We really, not we as a society, but in fact, we're all connected. So I will say that, but we're putting new stuff into old. This is the whole letting go. Mm-hmm. The fear of loss.
Yeah.
You know why it's a fear of loss? Because loss, or what we have come to interpret and define as loss, is really a change.
Yeah.
And people fear and change. Fear and change so much so that, this is old, mm-hmm. but the number 13.
Bad luck. Supposedly. Because somebody created that program. And you know how deep that is, to where the 13th floor is left off on the elevator. We ain't even talk about 666 yet.
Right. Oh, Lord, have mercy. We'll touch on that really quick. But the 13 is interesting because the 13 represents change. Mm. If you look throughout history, and people can relate to the Bible more so, you had Jesus and his 12 disciples. Mm-hmm. Okay, 12 disciples plus Jesus makes what?
Mm-hmm. Change.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
So where are people running from that? Now going back to the 666. Oh, it's so easy to program the human mind and put fear in there. It's super easy. Mm-hmm. You got people running around here thinking 666 is the devil, and because of the idea of the devil that has been placed in your subconscious. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the basic structure of carbon, it's 6 proton electrons. Yeah, it's 666.
I've heard that. Yeah,
it's 3 6s.
Yeah,
that's the basic carbon structure.
Yeah,
and you're a carbon entity.
So we running from ourselves in a sense.
Man, look here. We can have a whole nother show on the darkness and the darkness, because people keep talking about the darkness, but everything comes from the darkness. Mm-hmm. The light doesn't dispel the darkness. The darkness creates light. Mm-hmm. There's a such thing as dark light.
When you talked about the program, man, was listening to Bob Proctor talk about the subconsciousness. And how from a child we get infilled with all these ideas and fears, like don't step on a crack, you break your mother's back. Mm-hmm.
When people running around here jumping over cracks, and that's a real. I mean, they really believe in it.
Yeah,
whatever you believe. I mean, you can't tell somebody. That's another thing. You can't tell somebody that their reality isn't real.
Yeah.
It is real. Mm-hmm. Because in your mind, the mind doesn't the body doesn't know the difference. Yeah. I mean, the mind doesn't know the difference between what you call reality and what's really happening. Uh-huh. Like I can think of something.
Yeah. And
we'll have a physiological response to it.
Yep. Your emotional mind.
That's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we keep judging people and their experiences.
What is it? You can scare yourself to death, or like a panic attack,
right? Okay,
or anxiety. Like if you have the feeling like you about to die, like you can think yourself into that,
right?
But you could do the opposite too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you could think yourself into wealth, health, whatever.
You think yourself into, like you said, whatever.
Yeah.
And that is a real thing. So people get hung up on this. Oh, that's not real. This is hocus pocus. So the issue that we're dealing with now, the coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. You have all these different perspectives and sides of the coin, which are all valid. Everything from the conspiracy theorists to the people that are wearing masks. I even saw somebody post something where you have a certain part of the population who are not afraid of the COVID-19, but they're wearing masks to show their obedience. But then you have those that are wearing the mask to show their obedience, quote unquote, in a smug way, saying I'm better than you, in an unconscious way. You see what I'm saying? Because you walk around with your nose up looking at somebody who doesn't have on a mask and judge them based on the fact that they don't have a mask. Right. What if they knew something that you didn't know? But you walk around in the idea the same and say that I'm not afraid of, why are you wearing the mask? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm protecting someone else. But okay, I get that. Because your beliefs will guide you to that. So it's interesting because, again, you can't judge somebody's reality and you can't really say that they're right or wrong. Mm-hmm. So when you look at, like, people want proof, hard facts. So in construction, for me, I protect my lungs. Mm-hmm. You have a respirator that is for particulates. So it doesn't filter out harmful chemical vapors. Mm-hmm. It filters out the stuff that's floating in the air. Sometimes you can see it, sometimes not. Fine dust, particle, whatever, that ain't no good. Mm-hmm. Then you have the one that is for vapors only. Then you have one that is for both. It filters out all of that stuff.
Yeah.
None of the masks that people are wearing do any of that. The particulates, it's like me putting my t-shirt over my mouth and my nose. Yeah. Some of it can get in there. But some of it's going in there.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So is it the mask that you're wearing, or is it your mind and belief that, oh, I'm putting on something? It's a ritual. I'm putting on something to cover my mouth and my nose so that this particular virus can't get through. When in actuality it can, it's small enough. Is it the mask or is it the mind? See, we put our energy on the thing, on the physical, outside, external, when everything is based on the energy, our beliefs. This is not something I'm making up. Listen, I walk it like I talk it. I practice what I preach. Mm-hmm. And when you look at healing, oh my God, even in Western medicine, it's so crazy how much information and study goes into the placebo effect. And it's 100%, no question. Mm-hmm. Yet you still got people not even realizing this is the power that you have. Your mind can literally heal your body just like that. It literally will protect you. It will bring to you what you are afraid of or what you desire. Mm-hmm. Whatever you focus on, that's what you bring to you. Mm-hmm. So if I'm focusing on protecting myself from something, I've given energy to that thing that I'm protecting myself from. So therefore I'm resonating with it. Mm-hmm. So now I'm in the environment of it. Conversely, if I give my energy to love, joy, happiness, beautiful sunshine, clean air, I'm, feeling good, feeling all of that, whatever. That doesn't mean I don't experience some negative emotion and whatnot. Right. It means my focus is more on how I want to feel than running away from or hiding or putting on something that I'm thinking is protecting me from some type of danger. Mm-hmm. One thing that really resonated with me about almost 5 years ago in a healing practice that's done out in nature, the first year is all about deep contact and awareness. So you're really honing in on self and getting a deep understanding of yourself and your instrument, how it works. Mm-hmm. And I remember it might have been me that asked the question. No, it wasn't me, but the question came up. As for healers, there's always this idea that somehow you're absorbing somebody's bad energy and that can get on you.
Yeah.
And that can be true if that's what you start to do. You start to think, oh, I'm giving out all of my energy, and so I feel drained, or I can inadvertently take on someone's negative energy. Mm-hmm. The thing about that is we're all energy. So it's not a good or bad energy. It's how you move with the energy. Mm-hmm. So the question was, how do we protect ourselves from this negative energy or somebody else's stuff? And the answer or the response was awareness. Mm-hmm. So I sat with that for a moment. Like, because the question was a great question, because I know it's a question that everybody had. Yeah. Usually somebody will come out with the question that is in the room. The container. Yes, in the room.
Yeah.
And I even thought about that years ago, before, because I've been practicing healing work before then. And so I sat with that. I was like, okay. But I just left with that as a question. So later on, after that weekend, I don't know how far off, I always studied the etymology of words. So I said, let me look up awareness. One day I was inspired to look up awareness. And I looked up the word. First of all, before I looked up the word, it clicked. Because I started saying aware. Oh. Where? What is aware? Like the word a and the word where. Aware is a garment. Mm-hmm. You put garments on to what?
Your body.
In order to
protect. Yeah.
Right. So that's when it clicked for me. Oh, awareness is your protection. Mm-hmm. When I was like, all right, that makes sense, because I'm aware of my instrument and how it moves, how it responds, and I'm connected to the field that is us. Mm-hmm. So my awareness is my protection. Mm-hmm. We often talk about getting prepared for the worst, or getting prepared for something so that you don't have to, but if you tune in, you're always prepared. You are prepared, because what are you preparing for? For example, if a woman was out in nature, in fact, if a woman was out in nature and never had any kind of books or anything and was pregnant, would she be able to have that baby safely? And like we all think, oh, you got to be in a sterile environment. You got to do this and this and that. That's how people were trained. But and as far as taking care of a child, there are books out there to teach you how to take care of a child, how to raise a child to be a mother. But that's a programming. Mm-hmm. That's taking you out of something that's already natural and innate within you, that is programmed into your DNA.
Yeah.
Yet you're going to go read somebody else's experience and take that as valid. So you're creating somebody else's life and you're living somebody else's life. Versus tuning into what's already encoded in your DNA. You don't have to go read that. It's in you. Mm-hmm. But that goes back to what we was talking about before, is the self-doubt and the lack and the not trusting that within us.
Yeah. That comes from the programming. We get taught that. I was listening. I was with some kids, and I don't remember what we doing, probably cleaning something. And they'll both say, well, I can't do that. And I be like, where y'all learn that from? You learn you can't do that. They're like, well, I can't do that. And then you work with them, you get them to do it. And it's right. Like, well, don't tell yourself you can't do nothing.
Right.
It's like, I'm like, man, Then I had to ask myself, do I tell myself I can't do things? You know?
Right.
Like, do I go do something like, man, I can't do that? And then when I do catch myself saying that, it's like, all right, I got to change that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to do that right now. Or I just need to spend more time with that.
Right.
But to say can't, then because when I say can't, I don't have to think no more. Because I just told myself I can't. So I ain't even got to think about doing it. Oh, I can't do that. I could just, leave it alone.
Right.
Instead of, how can I do that?
You've given up responsibility.
Yeah.
You've given up responsibility for your own life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of things to take ourselves off the hook. So you say you can't, then that's
it.
That's deep. You stop thinking then.
Mm-hmm.
So, and getting back to the protection and the mask is interesting because that whole can't, who was it? Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or can't,
you're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to the placebo.
Yeah.
Whereas Dr. Bruce Lipton talked about, the placebo effect, but then you have the nocebo effect, which is basically it's basically what most of us end up doing, the negative aspect of whatever it is. We'll take ourselves down a spiral. We'll create dis-ease in the body based on our own thoughts and beliefs. And most of those thoughts and beliefs are programmed from the environment which we were raised in,
right,
or that we're subject to and we focus our attention on in the now. And so if we put our focus and attention on quote unquote what is, then for instance, what is, if I have a seed in my hand, this what is, and I put it in the ground and I sit there and look at it and it ain't doing nothing. I'm like, man, what's going on? This ain't working. I'm putting too much energy and focus on this not working. And guess what? Even though the seed is encoded to grow and sprout when in the right environment, notice I said in the right environment, so it's in the ground getting the right nourishment.
Yeah. Your
thoughts affect the environment and literally affect the matter. Genetically, it affects our genes. It affects the matter, the material around us, our thoughts and beliefs. This ain't just this is scientifically proven. So if I have thoughts that this thing ain't working, I'm actually killing that seed's ability to do what it's already programmed to do because of my own energy. Thoughts are energy. Thoughts are actual manifestations.
Right.
And so then it won't happen. Conversely, and I got a perfect example. When I first moved in this house and I planted a garden. I ain't never planted a garden in my life at that point.
Yeah.
I didn't go read a bunch of stuff and, I need to do this and that. I went out there and actually communed with the earth. It was, oh man, it's beautiful. And I know a lot of you can relate to putting your hands in the soil and being out in the sun and just digging and connecting with the plants. So I was doing that and enjoying it and it's swinging, and I didn't even it's a smaller garden. It was like, I think it's 8 by 12 or something like that. And so I just did all of it by hand. I didn't get the tiller or nothing. So it felt good. I was connected with it. Putting little plants in there. And all I did was just, if I didn't even really water them, to be honest with you, because this water is that city punch. It's got all kind of stuff in it. I just let it be. I think I may have watered it initially because when I planted it though,
Right.
just because it needed to be moist or something. But other than that, I kind of let it roll. Mm-hmm. And I went out and tended to it and gave some love. And if it was a weed in there, I pulled it up and whatnot.
Yeah.
Man, do you know that thing was so over luscious and beautiful and vibrant?
Right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But I didn't go in with, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't, I said, you know what? Nature got this.
Yeah.
What, you know what I'm saying? Why?
Yeah.
Who am I to think that something that is already happens in nature, I'm going to go make it better than what it was created to be? See, we end up getting in the way. And we say, well, it's part of evolution and, farming and stuff. I get that. But the farming that has been done is stripping nutrients from the soil. So the stuff that's growing is less nutrient dense. Now you got GMO stuff and all that, but that's it. Like I can throw a seed on the ground or drop a seed. The seed will do, the seed knows what to do.
Yeah. I
don't have to instruct the seed. I don't have to read nothing. The seed don't have to read nothing.
Yeah, he just
go. And then, so I know my neighbors were like, man, what you put on that? Wow. It's always that question. Like, what did I do to it? What did I put on it? What about what I didn't do?
Yeah.
I didn't do all of those things.
Yeah. Right.
I just got out the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the time we need to get out the way and let everything work. Yeah. The art of allowing. And that goes for us 100%. The art of allowing, it's already encoded in our DNA. So if we get out of the way, trust it.
Control. Like we like to have a measure of control. At least we think we have a measure of control.
We think we do.
And it's like when you have a plan, like this is what I plan to do, and then your plan don't work out. And it's like, I think for me, what hurts is like, man, I thought I had this, I thought I had this figured out. I thought I planned it to the T, and then something out of my control changed my whole plan.
Right.
And then
what do you do from that point?
It's like, then at that point, it's like, all right, now I got to just go with it. Because I don't have the control I thought I had. So now I'm like, at this point, well, all right, well, what can I do? And what's in front of me? And then sometimes it come to you. And like after your plan has just messed up.
Right.
It's like, I'm trying to think of oh man, I was pouring concrete one time and I messed up and ordered an extra truck.
A whole extra truck
with like 9 yards on it.
Ooh, wait.
Because I had a schedule for it and I forgot to cancel. I forgot to cancel it. So I'm pouring concrete with one truck and this other truck come up and I'm like, what is this truck here for? And they're like, oh yeah, it's a 9 yards you ordered. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, I don't know how this gonna work out. Cause I ain't, but it worked out. The some kind of way the sub that was there was like, oh well, we could pour this other thing. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, a truck got 90 minutes on it. So told him to park across the street and he sat for like 45 minutes.
Wow.
And when the other truck was done, the other truck pulled up, poured it. But it worked out.
Right.
I didn't plan for it to work out, but it worked out.
Right.
So sometimes it's like even in the midst of what feels like chaos or nothing's going on, there's a lot going on.
Always.
Like, yeah.
Always. Things are, that's beautiful because for one, it shows a couple of different things. So, and most of the time people's responses are, oh shit. Or, oh man, I done effed up. Or what am I going to do?
Oh, I said that.
Yeah. I'm sure. So in those moments are prime territory for us to be able to up level and evolve and expand our consciousness. Because in those moments, if we can recognize, wait a minute, take a deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
What you said earlier, things will come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because in those anxious, in those moments, you blocking all information.
Right.
So you ain't got no access.
Right.
But if we can remain in that calm space, then the information will come.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because when I was working at Habitat, people would always talk about my patience or calm.
Mm-hmm.
And even sometimes when stuff would happen that I'm like, okay. I'll take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And I think I made a video on that one time where you got a job site and it's super chaotic. But if you start your day off right, if you start your day when you wake up without looking at your phone, without doing all that, you get control of your day. You meditate. As soon as you wake up and you do your thing and you center, and then not necessarily plan your day. You don't have to plan it, but you say, oh, this day is going to be magnificent. And you sit in that gratitude and that love. Then your day, when things like that happen, you're in the space of, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Listen, both sides, extreme sides.
Yeah.
Been on the other side where I'm just like, boom, running around, busting my head, bumping into this, running all that.
Yeah.
And ain't nothing working because I'm in that space. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm not saying anything based on what I heard somebody. I know this is the stuff that I experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful when you sit in the midst of that chaos and you don't get moved by it.
Right.
Because you, like you said, that it will come to you.
Mm-hmm.
And even if what you planned didn't work out, if you hold that things are always working out for me, not things are happening to me.
Right.
You know, most people move in the victim mentality, in the victim space. Then there's a different energy that you're rolling with. Mm-hmm. You rolling with that support. You always supported.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that's I got I was in college one time and up in like Mercer County, and I caught the Greyhound bus. I didn't plan. I just was like, oh, I'll get there. The Greyhound bus stops an hour and a half away from the school, but for some reason I overlooked that. Like for some reason I overlooked that.
That's interesting though. For some reason I was like, oh, good. And I got to the bus stop, and I assumed that there was gonna be a bus that would take me from there. Like, oh, there'd be some $10, $20 bus, and there wasn't one. So I started walking, and dude, I walked across highways, I walked through backcountry roads. Wow.
Until I got to a Walmart and I bought a bike.
Oh man.
So I had like this 4 foot long bag probably 1.5 feet wide. Got it on my back. I bought this bike. I start riding the bike, and I'm like, I'm kind of scared, bro.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going the right direction,
right?
I'm scared because I'm like, man, my phone on like 20%. What if something happened to me out here? Who would know?
Right.
So it's raining. I'm pedaling, I'm like, I'm on the right, because I got some kind of GPS. It ain't like the GPS we got now.
Right.
It's like the make a left here, make a right here kind of joint.
Right. Right.
And I'm going, and it rained. I end up getting a damn flat tire.
Damn.
And, I'm going past abandoned barns, because it's probably 9:00 at night. And I'm like, yo, what if I don't fucking make it? Like, what if something happened to me out here? I'm starting to have these thoughts, but I'm just walking with this bag.
Right.
And that I get to the point where it was a fork in the road. And I went left, and I was starting to go over this hill. And this, I don't remember what kind of SUV it was. It was like a small SUV, like a whatever. It stopped. And it was like, it was two Caucasian people inside. I'm like, hey, where you going? I was apprehensive, because I'm like, man, it's pitch black.
Right.
I got this bag. It's just nobody but me and these two people. I don't know them.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm going to Till College. And they like, oh, you're going the wrong way. It's this way. So I was like, do I say I'm good and just keep walking? I was like, no, I'm gonna get in the car. I got in the car and they took me to the college. I was like a mile away from the school.
Yeah.
But I walked by it. I took a left and walked by it.
Right.
But I was I was scared, man.
Yeah.
Like by myself, and just anything could happen, but nothing happened. I got to the school. My feet were sore.
Oh, I bet.
So what was an hour and a half in the car was probably like 3 hours walking.
Wow.
So
that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
But that shows you things are always working out. Like the fact that these two people were put in a specific place after, because you had already passed it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So something's like, all right, we gotta get you back on the right track. So
yeah,
boom, boom, boom. None of this stuff is by chance. None of it. There's no all that. Yeah. Everything is divinely orchestrated. And I remember some of my brothers in the Nation of Islam always would say, we plan and Allah plans. And Allah is the best of planners. Meaning, like, we can write out these plans. We can say, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah. But what's in your best interest is of a higher nature. Is your higher self, and a lot of times we go against that. Not most of the time. Yeah. We go against that, and I say most of the time is if we're in a struggle, we're going against it. We're going against it. If we're going through quote unquote difficult times and challenges and fighting through and pushing, not saying you can't be successful and succeed and come through a diamond, but you didn't have to. It's already aligned and your path is laid out. You can walk it with little effort. If you just tune in, let go, and trust it. That's our biggest challenge, is because we have split energy. Yeah. We focus on all of this stuff out here and look at it and look at that as valid and disregard what is being spoken in the heart. Yeah. Right here. It's we're always being guided. Always. Everything is so divinely inspired and orchestrated. And I think we were talking earlier about the judgment that keeps us from connecting. And the reason I'm saying is because I'm thinking about the divine orchestration of things. Because I remember we were talking about animals, mm-hmm. and what if everything is everything? Mm-hmm. Like humans somehow have put themselves above everything else, superior.
Right.
That creates conflict, mm-hmm. because now you're separating yourself. And when you separate yourself, you have split energy, so you can't tap in. And the example I like to give is you have the ocean, massive body of water, like the depths of which no man even has fully comprehended, right? Mm-hmm. And if I took one drop from that whole body of water, that one drop is the same exact thing as that entire body. All right. The makeup is that, mm-hmm. but that one drop by itself mm-hmm. doesn't do much.
Right.
I mean, you barely even notice it. Mm-hmm. If it fell on you, it would have to be super dry day and it hit you. It's like, oh, I felt a drop.
Yeah.
But it's the same. But when it taps back in, has access to all.
Right.
That's us.
Tsunami.
There is one source, one energy. We are different aspects or angles of light. Angels, angles mm-hmm. of light. Mm-hmm. So we are the same light expressed differently. Mm-hmm. That's as simple as I can put it. So when we tap back in and connect, when we see the bird after we've had a thought, we see the bird land near us and we just disregard it as a bird. But if somebody came up, a human came up and they were doing something, we look at them like, oh, this one crazy. Or we try to speak a certain language that we've been taught as children. Mm-hmm. Children came in with the language of the spirit, the language we're connected to. Then us as adults teach them the language that we have learned because we can't understand that language. We don't tap into what is at our core and what the children already know. We say, no, you need to speak this way. And so now we have words, right, which are like the middleman, and the words can confuse things. Mm-hmm. They actually really taint the expression. Mm-hmm. It's not fully understood. And so now in that creation, we've got these words. So it's the same thing with animals. We don't speak the language that the dog speaks. Mm-hmm. The language that is of the ego, the language that we think is tangible, but we all speak the language of energy, mm-hmm. because we are all the energy. And that communication is always happening regardless of our conscious awareness of it. That's why we can feel certain things. The animals are tuned into it. So they feel when you're not up. Mm-hmm. They feel when you're down. And guess what they do? They come and express love, give you affection. Mm-hmm. We try to hide it. You can't hide energy. You can put the mask on in your corona, in your head, in your crown. You think that you are covering something up and protecting yourself from something, but you can't hide it. Mm-hmm. You can't hide the energy. All right. So that mask is just a false sense of security or a placebo. It's not really, I can't say it's false, because if it makes you feel more confident and better, then keep doing it. Yeah. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. If it makes you, if it uplifts you, if it empowers you, mm-hmm. I was say use that, empowers you, mm-hmm. then keep moving. But if you're disempowered, if you're giving your power away to someone or something, now it's time to reevaluate our choices and say, is there something different? Is this giving me life? All right. But yeah, I guess that really circles back around to the awareness.
Yeah.
Awareness is your protection. Mm-hmm. Now, I know not everybody will agree with that, and look, you don't have to agree with anything that I'm saying. You don't have to believe it. I'm just offering another perspective. That's all. We all have perspectives, and that's why I say judge no one or no thing. Because when you do, you've cut yourself off and you make that conclusion.
Right.
You can't expand past that. So your level of awareness remains here. The same.
Yeah. As you saying that, it's like I'm asking myself, what is it that I'm afraid of? And it's like not being myself. Like if I have an interest, I make rap music. I make hip hop.
Right.
And what I have struggled, and even though sometimes I still do, it's like, man, you can't make that because somebody might be like, how you gonna talk about a Mercedes Benz and you got a white truck? How you gonna talk about wanting millions of dollars and you working 9 to 5?
Ooh.
Like other people's judgment or opinions.
Right.
But that's with anything though. It's like not letting external influences make me not allowing that to hinder me.
Right.
Cause I think sometimes it's that fear of judgment.
Exactly.
Podcast.
Yeah.
What you gonna talk about? We'll talk about whatever we want to talk about. What,
right? Right.
The same thing me and you do. We talk. So why? I mean, I listen to somebody I never met talk. So I don't see why what me and Q have to say ain't of value to somebody.
Right.
So it's like not being afraid to pursue my own interests. And as well as being the person I want to be ultimately. Like, don't if you want to have money, have money. Don't be afraid to have money. It's like you said earlier, with the child scared to. You're more scared of the loss,
right,
than the success.
Exactly.
It's like you gotta change the paradigm, which is changing, to have you gotta have the awareness.
Right.
Pretty much at the end of the day, you gotta have the awareness, and then moving from awareness, moving into okay, I'm changing this how. What do I need to do to change these patterns and get out of this comfort level? So yeah,
that's yeah, I definitely resonate with that. You know, that the fear of judgment.
Yeah, and
that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Is staying in your lane, focusing on your lane instead of that comparison, looking at somebody else's lane.
Right.
Because those voices and stuff that come up in our heads and they say, oh man, somebody, listen, as you were saying it, I'm feeling it right now about, you know, I told you I was going to start offering my services.
Yeah.
You know, spiritual guidance, healing, and coaching, and all of those voices that come up are, man, who is this guy? You know, he build houses. What are he gonna tell? That kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
And I had to keep reminding myself, man, I've been doing this for most of my life, 20 plus years.
Right.
So it's like, going back to what we're talking about. We looking outside for validation and proof of our own greatness.
Right.
And running from our own greatness. Mm-hmm. So I mean that's deep. Fear is an interesting thing, and I remember somebody, I think it was in 2018. You know the acronym that people have for fear. Mm-hmm. You never heard of false evidence appearing real?
Oh, okay. I heard of that.
Well, there's one that's more empowering. Mm-hmm. That I said, oh, I'm adopting that.
Yeah.
Feeling excited and ready. Feeling excited and ready. Mm-hmm. Because, the frequency or vibration of fear and excitement is the same. Mm-hmm. So why not be feeling excited and ready? Yeah. It just reminds me of a story Will Smith was telling about skydiving. Mm-hmm. And that whole build up and they were at a party drunk or a little tipsy, whatever. Everybody, oh yeah, hey, we need to go skydiving. Everybody like, yeah, let's do it. And then the next morning you wake up and it's time to go. You like, oh, shh. Now that fear jumped in. Like, what have I done? So nobody want to, be like, oh yeah, I don't know if I'm going. Yeah, I'm ready. Your heart beating 20 miles an hour, and he was just talking about up until the point, like all the way up until the point of getting ready to jump out. Yeah, there was just this intense fear, and once he jumped out, the most blissful thing ever. Mm. And basically it was just saying everything that you desire is right on the other side of fear. And the fear is absolutely unnecessary. Like you're creating all these scenarios that don't even exist. Mm-hmm. The what if this and this could be that and that could. So you're creating it because you're giving your focus. That's why in the scripture it talks about your greatest fears will come to pass. Mm-hmm. Why? Because you feeding your fears. Mm-hmm. You always focus on it. Mm-hmm. And even if you're focusing on protection, that's still the fear. Right. Even if it can be so subtle that we tell ourselves we're not afraid. Like, why procrastinate? Oh, it might be a fear. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, well I need to do this. I need to do that. We're really professional at. I know I'm professional at that. Like I can strategically talk myself out of something
real
and be
quick.
Like, I'm like, if I sit back, it's like, wait a minute. Did I really have to do this over here? I feel myself running away from that thing. Even in that moment, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. Okay, and I say I'm gonna do this, and I start doing something else, or scroll through here, and I'm like, and then get caught up in that, and then wait a minute, yeah, and like, oh yeah, I get that in a minute. I'll get that in a minute.
I just said I was going to do it now.
Yeah, and
just doing it,
and I got the vibe and the ooh right then. That's when you do it. Yeah.
Yep. I got to raise my hand. I'm guilty of that.
For real. The fear of loss is greater than the desire to gain. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, that's one of the realest things, man. Mm. So let's revisit that, because what is loss? Is there a such thing as loss? Are we even losing and gaining? Because if we are all connected, and I say connected because that's the limited language, but connection would imply that something is separate. You know what I'm saying? It would imply that something is separate. Mm-hmm. Like the body. Now it is said through science and study of the quantum and quantum physics and study of the quantum realm that, you know, your body is made up of 50 trillion cells, I believe. And in all of that, we look at our body, our physical body, as if it was this thing, like we're a spirit inside or a soul inside of a vessel. Because a lot of times, in order for clarity, we dumb it down and liken it to a car when we say certain things to try to get people to understand, like, oh, you got to feed the fuel, like you put the gas in your car and take care of your body kind of thing. And it is way more intricate and divinely amazing. There's no words to describe the body, but it's not necessarily a body. It's a community. Mm-hmm. There are all types of life forms working together for the good of the whole.
Yeah.
And without question. The thing about it is everything, all the different life forms in this sphere or this place, I'll say, because this body is just, I heard someone describe it as a wrinkle in the fabric, because this stuff we call space is literally is a field of energy, and we are wrinkles in that. So all of that is working for the good or working for the benefit of the whole. Mm-hmm. Now, our level of understanding or awareness doesn't mean something is good or bad, because we attach these moral qualities that we've learned to certain things because we don't understand. Our level of consciousness is not it's only at a particular point. So it ends up being limited. Mm-hmm. We've limited our unlimited capacity, if you will. And that really goes back to judging things, people, places, things. What if we just opened up to like experience whatever? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, that all that fear, we dissolve that. We got a fear of the dark. Where did the fear of the dark come from? We were in darkness for 9 months.
And then you come out and get afraid of the dark that's here.
That's programming.
Yeah.
How are you afraid of the thing that nourished you?
I used to be afraid of the dark.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Night lights.
Why you ain't afraid of the light? You come out into a traumatic environment, into bright, artificial lights.
LED.
Most of us.
Yeah.
There wasn't no LEDs around then when I was born. Not in no hospital.
Right.
It was all fluorescent. Yeah. Detrimental. Like, and then you come out in this environment, you coming out of triple darkness. Mm-hmm. You the only light in the triple darkness. So how are we afraid of it? Where did that fear come from? Anybody question that?
Program, man.
Right.
Scary movies.
Scary movies. I mean, but I don't even watch scary movies. And we weren't watching scary movies when we was little, but yet there was this fear of darkness. Mm-hmm. Where did that come from? Mm-hmm. It's interesting because the darkness it's so funny because the whole reality that we're existing in is flipped. It's backwards. If you really want to go into it, mm-hmm. The programming that has been installed in us is the opposite of what is beneficial. Because I think we said it in an episode before, talking about black magic and voodoo and all that kind of stuff. And mm-hmm. But this is the stuff, even in the Bible, the stuff that Jesus and all of the ancient Essenes. This is the stuff that they're practicing. Mm-hmm. But somehow it was all these healing arts and things were made evil, because what happened is when certain foreigners came into the land, the pale man came into the land and saw these mystical, magical things. It was threatening. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, what is it? And so then you label it as dark magic, voodoo, and now, all of these magical things that are really the science of nature are put in witchcraft books, demonic things, even certain symbols. People say, "Oh, that's Satan worship and this and that." Now, there are certain people that claim, devil worship, do all that. I ain't talking about all that stuff. I'm talking about the actual things that they think they're doing as devil worship, but the symbols, like, perfect example, the swastika. When I say the swastika, most people see the image and they think of Hitler and all his tragedy. The swastika was a divine, powerful symbol, but because this man utilized it and he did some things that were absolutely horrific, now everybody else is associating the swastika with that. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case. Yeah. So we're programmed to run from the very powerful things that they were utilizing in a different way. Mm-hmm. The power is available. There's no good and bad to the energy. Energy is not good and bad energy. It's energy. Your interpretation is what makes that happen. Mm-hmm. So the same power over here that's available to the murderer is the same power that's available to the saint. Yeah. And without any, there's no withholding about it. Yeah. It's whoever's going to use it. You can use it for whatever you want to use it for. That doesn't make that bad or doesn't make it good. Mm-hmm. Now you're talking about the individual. So, and that's what's happening throughout history. That's happening now. It's always happened, is everybody's focused on the individual. Mm-hmm. And I can point the finger at this individual and say, oh, look at what he did. So you say Trump. Everybody's focused on the individual. You missing the energy. Mm-hmm. Like Bruce Lee said, don't look, what did he say? Don't focus on the finger or you'll miss the glory of the moon. Or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm pointing over there and you looking at this character and missing the energy.
Right. Yeah, we tend to do that. Yeah. Like if somebody, if it's a man who doesn't have a home, living on the street, and you in a car and you driving and you get to a red light and he say, "Hey man, watch out for that pothole up there." You say, "Man, I ain't listening to him." And you drive up there and you hit the pothole. But you only didn't listen to him because he perceived to be some homeless man who may not know anything.
Right.
However, instead of listening to his message, you just looked at him and said, and you made a judgment like, I don't know nothing.
Right.
And you just jacked your car up.
God, oh my. Well, how many times have we done that? Yeah. I know I've done it. Mm-hmm. Everybody's done it. Yeah. I guarantee you.
Yeah, almost definitely.
But the difference is when you can become aware of it, you start to dissolve that judgment. Yeah. Because you getting out of the ego and I'm greater than this person or that person. Right. So I ain't going around judging this person or that person for in wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. I'm like, man, do your thing. Yeah. Don't bring it over here though. You know what I'm saying? Don't look at me. Either way. Yeah. You know? And it's interesting because I think we were talking about, you said something earlier about, before we were recording, what are we talking about? The dog. We're talking about animals and the connection to the animals.
Right.
And how you look at the dog as just the dog, but that's the ego.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are sitting in that space that like I'm greater because I'm man,
right,
then you cut yourself off from learning from the dog.
Mm-hmm.
You cut yourself off.
Right.
You got full-time access to everything. To the energy that creates word, God.
Right.
In you. Is you.
Mm-hmm.
All you gotta do is tap in. That's really it.
Right.
This is how miracles happen. This is how mystical, magical things happen. This is how you get visions. This is nothing new or just out of the, oh my God.
It's not a secret.
It's not a secret. The secret is it's not a secret.
Yeah.
It's right in its act. It's here and now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are you willing to go back into the dark?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Tap in.
Don't tap out. Gucci,
man. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yep. Most definitely.
All right. So that will do it for this evening.
Thank you all.
Indeed. Hope you all have a beautiful evening, day, morning, wherever you are.
Yeah.
And until next time, peace and love.
So.
Hey family, thanks for listening. Don't forget to head on over to theheartofhouse.com, like, share, and subscribe. It actually helps us out and we greatly appreciate it. We value your feedback, so please leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and how can we support you. The more interaction we get from you, the better content we can deliver. Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.